4, 3, 2, 1.
We're live.
Welcome.
First story.
That would be mind-blowing.
Trending stories are taking over.
TSTO. Why does he get a bell for that?
Next story.
Everybody get down.
According to the sounds, I'm not doing so hot today.
TSTO.
TSTO thing.
TSTO.
That's crazy.
Story time. What is happening, people of the interwebs? I am Todd Frazier.
I'm Jake Frazier.
I'm Chris Cody.
And this is the Trending Stories Taking Over show. We are live on the interwebs. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitch. We're on Twitter.
All the places.
We're on all the places. All of the places. Man, I feel like it's been longer than a week since our last show.
It feels like ages.
It feels like ages. I hate that. I hate that it feels... Wait, Jake, what? Somebody's behind you, Jake. What's going on? What in the world?
It's Lord Michael. Lord Michaels decided to stop in. And
How did you get a hold of? How'd you get a hold of Lorne Michaels? That's impressive.
You know, he's not doing much right now. There's nothing much to do. So he's just writing gags, writing jokes, and he came to me for a little help in this trying time.
Wow.
Yeah, Kyle's here. Kyle, what's up, buddy? Kyle? Why do you think Lorne Michaels is watching over Jake? I think Jake's in trouble. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think Lorne Michaels is there to keep
Lorne
you in
Michaels,
line.
He could use some
because
watching
he's
over.
like a universal governing body. Yeah. Yeah, Lorne Michaels is somebody that makes sure everybody's staying alive.
I think
you have to respect Lorne Michaels.
I think you know what? I think that's a given. You have to expect this to respect Lorne Michaels just because of the fact that Saturday Night Live.
Right.
I mean, all the other things.
Good.
All the other things.
I mean, he did stab Doug Kenny in the back after Doug Kenny made National Lampoon. So that was, I mean, some might say Lorne Michaels is responsible for the death of Doug Kenny. So
wow, that's hot take. Hot take.
You heard it here first. But I mean, we still got to give the man his ups. That's why he's with
Daniel. Daniel says Lord Michaels. Lord Michaels is overseeing today's Trending Stories Taking Over show. And then
dude,
Kyle's
Kenan
reporting.
Thompson is Lorne Michaels' boss.
It's a good point. Kyle's reporting us. Kyle, you know what? You better not report us, or I'll never say we're not gonna. Just don't.
We're
do
gonna
it.
blame you for the stories.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, he becomes somebody that we
Kyle will be who to blame. He will be the one that we blame. So what's going on, everybody? There are Trending Stories taking over, but before we get to the stories, I want to talk about a few things. First of all, Chris, you and I were talking a little bit about Starbucks. Your store is open back up.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
The one at La Palma. Yes.
Yep. La Palma Imperial by Cinema City. We are open, kind of. We only accepting mobile order.
Right.
So you have to get out your phone and order it there, and then we have a line that goes into the door, and basically you walk in the door, ask for your mobile order, we give it to you, and you have to load. You have to go.
So I've been wondering.
Warm greetings and everything.
I've been wondering about that. Why is it you can't come in? Is it just a social distancing thing?
Yeah, it's to kind of limit that. We do have a lot of regulars who would probably, I wouldn't say ignore the order, but they would come and just stay in the lobby. Which
they would.
We like, everyone has their different opinions. I'm like, sure, let's open up, let's do it. Other people are, we have some of our partners who are a little bit more anxious, especially since they have some pre-existing conditions. So they're just kind of like, well, and Starbucks has been really good about being like, look, the government says we can do X amount. The community wants us open, and then they check with the partners, be like, who is comfortable being open. And so it's really cool as a company that they basically said, as much as where the government's allowing us to do, as much as the community wants, we also come back to the partners and say, who's comfortable doing this? And do we have enough support within the store to do that?
Yeah, because you can't open if you can't support the demand. I mean,
right.
Jen right here, Jen says Starbucks, oh, how we miss Starbucks. Oh, how we miss Starbucks. Oh, how we miss. I think that's
You're just gonna have to drive up north,
Jen,
and come get some Starbucks with the actual syrups and not that crazy essential oil stuff you guys have down in San Diego.
I don't know if that was a dig
or
if that was
essential oil in Starbucks in San Diego.
In certain test areas, they don't have the actual syrups like peppermint and whatever that we usually have. They'll have a simple syrup, and then they add the essence of whatever flavor it is that you want to do.
It's the essence of Starbucks.
Dude, does everybody that buys Starbucks from those Starbucks, do they all wear crystals? And do they do they have like tarot cards in their pocket?
No, it's just the same people desperate for coffee.
Yeah. So they come in, they're like, "I'm sorry, I don't have any cash, but I can bless you with the riches of knowledge."
Well, you know what? Jen makes a good point though. First of all, she says touche. So she thinks she needs to come in here, but her wallet is likely thanking her because she's not buying her Starbucks. Like, Jake, are you feeling that? Not buying the Starbucks right now?
Oh my! Well, I don't normally buy Starbucks.
Well, so now it's the Todd and Chris show. Jake has been cut out of the equation.
Why the thumb at Misa?
I bite my thumb at you, good.
Don't.
No, but like I don't normally go and buy Starbucks, but I have been noticing without being out and about as often, I'm not spending nearly as much money.
I'm seeing that across the board. We're not spending money. Like, there's 5 of us, and I'm like, we're not. I mean, which is a good thing. It's great,
right?
But I think that's a big reason. I mean, the economy is struggling big time.
Yeah.
So
when did we become non-materialistic?
I don't know.
When did that happen? It just
when
honestly,
they closed
it
down the
happened.
materialistic stores.
Yes, you know what? And I think
Can't go to Chanel.
It's a big problem, and I think that we've gotten to the point where we're all getting restless. I think last week, I don't remember who commented it first, but OTP, over the pandemic. I think that's kind of across the board. That's what the general consensus of the public, I think, is saying, is we're over the pandemic. We did the right thing in shutting down and making sure we slowed it so we have capacity. But I think at some point we're going to have to just realize when's the time to ramp up. Things are happening. And one thing, I'm making an announcement here right now so that you guys can all know. And I kind of told Chris, but I didn't really tell Chris. And I kind of told Jake, but I didn't really tell Jake. This will be, unless something happens between now and next week, this will be our last remote Trending Stories taking over. We're going to take measures here at the studio. That's right. We are going to be back in studio next week for Trending Stories taking over.
I didn't even know.
I know. It's exciting. I wanted to surprise you guys with a little bit of a gift. It's a little gift.
Awesome.
I'm excited.
Yes.
That'd be awesome.
I won't be able. I will have to wake up in time.
You
I'll
won't
be able to pay better attention. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. wait. Maybe we like this not being able to pay attention though. I don't know. So we will be back in studio next week in the same place because I'm in the studio now.
You guys around?
Why would you slap us around, Jake?
Because I'll be there.
That's in violation of our social distancing guidelines that are going to be put in place and plastered all over the walls.
I'll wear green gloves. We'll clipping mask it out.
We shall use long swords. It'll be good. We'll be able to keep distance.
Really long swords. Yes.
Oh yeah, we should have like a sword fight with like yardsticks.
There we go.
That's only 3 feet. That's not enough.
Well, don't run into my sword then.
Oh, 2. But I guess if 2 of them and your arm. Okay, I guess maybe that could work. All right, whatever.
So you're holding it out like this.
Yeah, okay, you're good point. Do the math and then carry the 3, and it's probably just fine.
I did see a delightful meme that said fencing is the perfect COVID-19 sport because you get to wear masks, you have to wear gloves.
Yes.
And if someone gets in the 6 feet, you get to stab them.
That I think is that's a great point. Fencing was made for this.
Great point.
Yes. That's right. Great point. All right, so we've made the announcement. Now you know that we're going to be in studio, barring any changes or the overlords that are watching, like Lorne Michaels, that says, "Hey, you guys can't do that." We're going to be here in studio next week. Barring a tactical nuke. That's right. But
which is where you can get those in Call of Duty.
Yeah. No. How is Call of Duty been, Jake? Is it?
It's good. It's fine. I didn't mean to derail this comment where we were heading by mentioning Call of Duty.
No, but that's
true.
That's a big part of your life right now. Call of Duty.
It's not. It's
a big
one of the parts of my life.
It's a big part of your life. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
I haven't won anything recently.
Why not?
I don't know. It's too hard.
It's
Everybody's risen to your level.
Dude, no. Everybody's just surpassed me. Let's get to the first.
All right. So first story. We are talking about something that we actually led with last week. Last week, all the beaches in Southern California, Orange County specifically, were closed by Governor Newsom because he said, "Hey, you guys gathered," and we said that's not okay. But guess what, everybody? Guess what? Get excited. The beaches are open. Woo! Yes, sir. So they have now said that all the beaches that I go to, so Huntington Beach, Dana Point, Newport got opened. Like all of this has happened, and I don't know if it's because of it, but I do know that Huntington Beach, Dana Point, and San Clemente sued the state, I think, and Newport got onto it. Yeah, right, because they're like, hey, this is silly. We can very easily observe social distancing with people at the beach. You don't typically hang out right next to people, but there are restrictions. There are restrictions as far as what you're allowed to do. So let's see here. Let's go back to the story.
You're allowed to swim?
Local beaches, you're allowed to swim. Local beaches, they'll be open from 5 to 10. This is Huntington.
That's normal, right?
Only active recreation activities. So walking, running, hiking, bicycle riding, surfing's okay. Like
loitering.
No loitering. No hanging out, getting a tan. Physical distancing must be practiced, okay? The ocean will be open for swimming, surfing, and other water activities. The Huntington Beach Pier and playgrounds are off limits, so you can't go and do that. And then the other...
No rubies.
No rubies.
There's nothing like a good Ruby's chocolate shake after a day nestling in the sun and water sports.
Yes, I think that's true. I'm
just not going to go now.
Okay, all right. You know, Chris, you don't have to go.
Interesting choice with that chocolate.
Why? Why is chocolate interesting? It's like staple.
I mean, chocolate shake. Why would it not be a chocolate shake, Jake?
Number one, the staple is strawberry. Everybody knows this.
No, it's not. I'm going to buzz you on that.
Go back to the 50s, right?
Oh,
when everybody's hanging out at Ruby's. What
just
do they
because
get?
you heard the Beach Boys
chocolate.
Just because you heard the Beach Boys doesn't mean you need to go back
during segregation. That's probably why.
Whoa!
What? No! No, Chris. You got Chris. Is that your first buzz and boo? I think that might be your first buzz and boo.
I'm proud of you.
Chocolate pride, though. I love chocolate, and my boys love chocolate. I don't think they've ever had a strawberry shake.
Throat?
What?
Chocolate doesn't hurt your throat?
That's malt. That's the malt in the chocolate. That is.
I don't know. All I know is when I drink a chocolate milkshake, I'm always like.
Well, Jake, you know what? You don't have to drink a chocolate milkshake, but you can go to the beach. Wait, Jen, no, this is anarchy. What is Jen saying? Jen is with you, Jake. Strawberry.
Yeah.
What? No.
I'm telling you, that's the move. You go to Islands, you get a frosty mug, you get the shake in the frosty mug. It is the only way to go.
What? I don't understand what's happening here. I feel like I've lost control of the world.
You guys.
Hallie says, you, Jake, too much chocolate hurts my throat. I knew we were related.
There's 3 against 2 right now.
You know what? But the only thing that counts is those that are on camera, and it's 2 against 1. So we win.
Ooh.
Are you saying that our wonderful listeners that are
no, they matter. They matter so much.
Don't matter.
And Jen says, "Sorry, not sorry." She doesn't even care that 2 of us are offended. She's like way in. Jen is in on this.
Jen's worth one of us on camera at least, probably. So
that's okay.
I mean, it is kind of 2 versus 2 here.
And then you've got the blood relation with Hallie. So I think we're overpowered in votes, but I don't think we're wrong. I think we're right. I don't think we're wrong.
Absolutely right.
All right. Sorry to derail another topic of conversation. Let's get back to the story.
No, it's good. No, but the beaches are open. And so the weird thing was, so Huntington was allowed to open as of the 5th. So Tuesday, Huntington was allowed to be open. Dana Point was allowed to be open. San Clemente was allowed to be open. But Newport was not allowed to be open yet. So they said, no Newport. And this story here, Newport officials wonder why their beaches remain closed and other city beaches are approved for reopening. So they had to come up with a plan. They had to tell them this is what we're going to do. And so this article posted, and then the next day, yesterday, the state approves Newport Beach. So they're good.
Wow.
So it's all good.
Brave.
All they had to do was wonder why, and the state's like, okay, all right, we get it, which is good for me because
they just had to
wonder. They had to say like,
they had to sit on the steps of a library somewhere and just gaze up at the sky. Yeah. See a formation of birds flying through the air and be like, those birds are a little bit like our life here at Newport Beach. And then next day it's open. It just took a little bit of introspective thought.
Yep. That's it.
Open this beach up.
And you know what? I think Lauren Michaels is looking down on you and he's giving you a bell. He's saying, you know what, Jake? I think that is phenomenal. That is phenomenal. So Yes.
That could be the face of a president.
That could be. Oh, are you voting? Are you going to write in a little bit of Lorne Michaels this year?
Lauren
There you
2020.
go.
Lauren 2020.
Make America funny again.
Make America
There you
funny
go.
again. Hallie's still on the milkshake thing. Hallie says, good to know Jake always has my back. Hallie, I have your back too, unless it has to do with plastic and turtles in the ocean. And then,
Yeah, I was just
it's a
going to say,
hoax.
unless it has to do with nature conservation.
I'm kidding, Hallie. We love
okay.
you. We love you, Hallie. We should have Hallie be
have
our
anything
nature
close to-
correspondent. Hallie, you want to be our nature correspondent? We should have her.
Oh, she could call in and tell us about what's going on outside and why.
Yes, and we should have a green screen of her with a dolphin looking on her, just like
Ooh.
Lauren's looking on you. I think that would
cool.
be good.
Or a dolphin puppet.
Dolphin.
Ooh, a dolphin puppet.
Dolphin puppet.
Right.
Hallie says we'll have
They
to talk
make
about
that?
it later. You know what, Hallie? We will talk about it later. Don't think we won't. Don't think we won't. So the beaches are open. I'm probably going to be going. I'm probably going to be going to the beach. Sooner than later, because that's one of the things that we do. And my oldest is having a birthday, so we might have to go surfing. I don't know.
Oh.
You know, a bell and clap for birthday girl. It's next week though, so we'll celebrate it next week.
Gosh. How old are your kids now? Gosh.
But my oldest, she's gonna be 14. She's gonna be a freshman in high school next year.
Oh my gosh.
Is this old man sitting on the front stoop corner?
What?
How old is your kids now?
Yes, well, back in my day, we had children that got older, and then that meant that I got older, and they go to high school.
I have
Button
now
voodoo.
technology that makes my kids forever young, like this.
Yeah, that technology is called an icebox, and I just soaked them in water and stuck them inside.
Yes, it's called an icebox for sure. Okay, so
It's right next to the elk in the freezer.
Jen actually went. She said she spent some time at the beach Monday. Makes no sense to keep the beaches closed and crowd the sidewalks to get out and walk. I agree, and that's one thing. When that happened, and Newsom just went nuts because people were at the beaches in Newport. I'm like, I think we're moving into a place that, like I said, I think it was a good thing to shut it down. It was a good thing to say, hey, we need to be careful because we don't know what it is. But there's so much information that's come out now that's just like, you know what? The death rate specifically, because yes, we're going to get sick. That's a big thing. And yes, it's bad when you get it, because I've got friends and family that have had to deal with this, and it's real and it's not fun. However, we can't be afraid of getting sick. And that's the place where I've gotten to now, where I'm like, we can't just be afraid of getting sick, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, especially because there's
100%.
We cannot live in fear.
We can't live in fear, and there's so many statistics specifically. So I don't have we're talking about New York here in this next story, so maybe I'll talk about it then. But there's some statistic that came out about the people that are getting it, and it blew my mind. It's kind of related. This next story dealing with New York, it's going to be interesting how this all plays out. But New York is doing some crazy things, and it's been nuts there. So let's get to that next story. Wait, before we get to the next story, though, first of all, before we get to the next story, if you've ever thought about starting a podcast, you need to check out dopodcast.com. It is a course. We have a free course so you can make a podcast entirely on your phone. It's really simple. And then we have other options for you to get fully trained in making your own podcast. And a dolphin, you can know how to put a dolphin behind you, just like Jake right there with a dolphin puppet. But go to dothingsonline.com or dopodcast.com, and you can do your own podcast. And now Jake is plugging in and unplugging. What is he doing? What's going on? Jake, what are you doing?
Nice plug.
Do we ever
Nice
know?
plug. You know what? So, hey, that's why this show is going to be so great. It's because we plug things so well. If you'd like things plugged, email us, tstoshow@gmail.com. We'd love to, I just about said something that really would not come out well. We would like to talk about your things. All right. Hallie, before we move on, Hallie says, as long as they don't spray the beaches with bleach like those idiots in Spain. Yeah. It's not like
Wait, did that happen?
There's all kinds of things that have been sprayed everywhere. We did the story about the trucks in China going down the street, like spraying bleach everywhere,
With
right?
Lysol.
Like, other than an advertising campaign for Lysol or Clorox, I don't see why it's actually necessary or beneficial. So,
but that doesn't have the same impact on an audience as like the helpful Honda person.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like we're the helpful spray bleach people, and then they go down the street and they start spraying the sidewalk, and people are rubbing their eyes because It's like tear
Yeah.
gas.
Wait, now
Right.
Daniel says something here. This is not the next story, but he says something here. Death ice
Death
rinks. They're
ice
storing
rink?
bodies in ice rinks. What?
What?
Is that real? Well, I've heard about refrigerated trucks being full of bodies and everything in New York. That could, I could see that being possible with what's going on there. Ellie said yes. That Hallie said yes. That actually happened. Don't even get me started. I think she's talking about the bleach on the beach.
Bring
it's
back
beach bleach.
hockey,
Dude,
but
I don't-
on these dead people.
I
ice
don't know
rinks.
what this is like.
Dude.
It's getting weird, right? All this stuff is really strange. And here's so this next story. Let's just get to this next story right now.
Let's do it.
So New York has, for the first time in its history, New York City deliberately shut down its entire subway system this morning. So they've shut down the entire system so that they can clean it. Look at here's the pictures of
Yeah,
the
so they
workers
can-
that are cleaning. Now, I don't know if you guys have been in a New York subway. I think you both probably have.
In
Yeah.
videos.
Oh, you never actually
I've been in
physically
it-
been in one?
Actually, yeah, a long time ago, I went to New York. It was really cool.
Yeah, New York's great.
Okay, good.
I love
You
it.
need that experience one time.
Yeah, and maybe we should
I'd
do
like to do it again.
Hey, we should do a live show in New York, a Trending Stories Taking Over show in New York.
Wow, that'd be cool.
That would be fantastic. Hey, NBC Studios, if you need us to fill in for Jimmy Fallon, we're ready.
right.
Or ABC or any of the, Cheddar.
Or if,
Who knows?
or if you'd like to fund
Any network.
TSTO,
Give me
be
the
one of our
monologue.
Patreon subscribers.
But they're cleaning the subway, and I'm like, first of all, I don't know if they can clean the New York subway system enough that it's actually clean. It's disgusting. There's pee in the corners, like everybody touches everything, which is one of the reasons New York blew up the way it did, I think, in
People are just
COVID.
peeing in corners.
People
Right.
peeing in corners, but then they're touching everything. It's just
Right.
it's just a really gross thing. Now, I think it's good that they're taking action here, but will that stop the subways from spreading it? I don't know. What do you guys think?
Anywhere there's people.
Yeah.
Anywhere there's people touching things, which is what people do. We have little
Right.
grubby hands, and we need to put them on things, which
Like-
is getting Joe Biden in a lot of trouble. So,
And it
so-
looks like the lady behind you is might be in trouble there too. Like what's she?
She
Oh
is-
my goodness!
She is like sodomizing this dolphin.
Oh
Like, it's
dear,
not okay.
that is
It's-
that is not. I don't think that dolphin would
it looks
appreciate
like she's
that.
got her hand in your head the way you're sitting. So
Yeah,
she's
I'm like-
actually talking for you.
You are her puppet. You are her
Close
puppet.
the beaches.
But
Close them.
so they're cleaning the subway system. Daniel says something about death ice rinks, which I had not heard of, and we should probably look that up because that might be a good story.
I'm going to look it up
Right.
right now.
But there was a stat that got put out by Cuomo yesterday, Governor Cuomo from New York, and I'm going to find it here because it was interesting because it goes against the what you would think. It goes against the logic, and it says that I don't know if I can find it here, but the stats of how people are getting it and where they're getting it, it was like 60% of the people getting it are the people that are staying home.
Oh, interesting.
And the healthcare workers that are in the line of fire, they're down at like
Yeah, they're not getting it at all.
they're down at like 5 or 6%, which makes no sense, right? They're
No.
literally there. Yes, they're in PPE and they're being protected, but that makes no sense. And then the number that blew me away, and I know the number because I saw it. I'll find it later to fact check it. But the homeless population was only 2%.
Weird.
I don't think that doesn't calculate in my mind. If this is something
No.
that we're being safe from staying at home, yet the people that live outside and like they are around each other all the time, they are not like it's not running rampant because that was the population I figured everywhere. Homeless would just be decimated because of feeling so like it's so communicative and all this stuff. But
Right.
it too like that to me said okay. We have a problem here. In New York, we're not in New York. However,
True.
we have an issue that's like we've gotten to the point where it's time to just kind of move. And everybody's putting things together, but New York shut down their subway to try and clean it up, which maybe means they're moving towards some sort of reopen.
Maybe.
I don't know. But that cleaning
You
the
clean the
subway
New York subway once, it's going to be filthy by the end of the day.
in
Right.
hou-
You let
within
people use
hours. Like not even
Yeah.
the day.
Yeah.
Like
You
It's
got
just
those
it's gonna
people,
go
you
back
got
to
the
normal.
rats. You got the Ninja Turtles. I mean, there's just too much down there.
Hey, don't you talk down on those rats, because like we learned from a Disney movie, those rats can cook.
and the
they're
scrubbing,
probably
and the scrubbing, and the scrubbing.
and
Hey,
they're scrubbing. They're clean.
They're
These rats
clean.
are
Right.
They can
They're
cook.
right. They're clean.
The
And Hallie,
meals that you eaten
That's
with
right.
your
That's right. I'm
family
sorry.
probably
I'm
been
sorry.
cooked by a New York City sewer rat.
sorry to
That's
break
right.
up this conversation, but Hallie says,
Don't you come-
and then we all go to grocery stores. Like,
That's right.
I'm just starting to feel very OTP, and I think that it's about time that we
I am too.
open it up, right?
But I definitely think that there is something to be said about what you were talking about, with like people being the ones that are staying, or the ones that are staying at home are the ones that are getting it, right?
Right.
Because if you go out at all, right, and you are in contact with somebody that everybody knows this. This is basic math. This is 1 and 1 equals 2.
Yeah.
But like if you're out of the grocery store, you come home, you're living with your family in a close knit environment. The only time you leave is when you go to the grocery store, right?
Yep.
You bring it into a petri dish with two to however many other living subjects, maybe one, but like
Right.
you just bounce it back and forth, like it's just around. So that it makes sense to me as why that would happen.
Well-
but I'm no doctor.
Well, but the other thing about that is the percentage of people that are getting it are still that high risk percentage, right? It's not the people that are 60 and younger. The majority, the 80 to 90% of the people that are getting it are over 80 and pre-existing conditions.
Why couldn't we have just like gotten everything ready, get the close everything down, get the hospitals ready to have everybody like there ready for those cases, and then just gas us all with it. That way, those who are healthy can have it, get over it. Those who are not, they're already ready for you.
I'm not
And they
here
put you
for
in there.
I am not going to go for gassing. I think that's not it. Ken says OTP over the pandemic, open the country. I think I'm feeling like Ken. However, here's the thing. I think the problem, and I said this, this has been kind of my running commentary on this now the last couple of days. The problem with what's going on right now is what we did at first, which is what we needed to do. We shut everything down to make sure that we could figure things out. We've got enough data to know that the majority of the people that are getting infected and dying are in a very, very specific demographic. They're older and or pre-existing conditions, right? For the most part. However, we live in such a PC climate, a PC society. You cannot point out, hey, this demographic of people is more likely, so they need to stay home. You can't do that. It's
Right.
wrong. It's immoral to point out a certain person. It's discrimination. No, it's not. It's logic. It's numbers. That's the reality. And
Those
I think
people are not the enemy. It's
No.
the virus.
And you
we're
have
saying,
to-
hey, you're gonna get it.
right. And you have to at some point say, you know what? We need to look at this and logic and not use our political brain and this politically correct speech and say, well, we can't call out anybody, so we need to have everybody stay home. No, we need
the older voters.
We
need them.
we need the
We
older
need our
voters.
older voters.
But
They're gonna take us to the next level.
I think I'm to the point now where I'm like, look, the reason that we're still shutting everybody down is because of the PC. And I think that's the biggest problem right now, is that we're so afraid to say, hey, if you're over a certain age and you have pre-existing conditions, you need to stay home. Everybody else go about your day, because if you look at the stats, and let me pull up I know we talked about not going on coronavirus today.
Right.
But
Well,
you can't not talk about it.
Right. Look that up, and then like Jen made a comment. I think at some point we just need to expect to get it, and I think you're absolutely right. I don't think this is like anything else. I don't think the precautions that the government has kind of enforced us to take had anything to do with us not getting it. It was only to make sure that we got it sporadically, so we didn't spike and like ruin our chances, like in Italy and stuff like that. So
that's the thing, is a lot of people would say that we did do that. We did let it spike, and like it just started annihilating our people. But like, no, we still have a working class that's going to be able to get back out there as soon as this is all done and build the economy back up. And guess what? As soon as all this is over, the economy is going to boom like crazy.
So. Yeah.
Well, it's okay. So here's the Johns Hopkins map. So we're at 3,800,000 cases, 267,000 global deaths, 74,000 deaths in the U.S., almost 75, which is really sad. And it's a not what we want to see. We don't want to see all these deaths, right?
Right. Well, the blanket is we don't want any deaths.
Correct. We don't want any deaths. And then the conversation is, well, if you have to be everything, how much is a death worth, right? That's the conversation. How much is a death worth? Well, no deaths are acceptable. However, we are not we are finite people. We're not infinite people. We will die at some point. And if you look at the numbers for heart disease in America, which is the number one killer, it's over 500,000 deaths a year of the American public, the number one killer.
I think man is prostate cancer.
No, across the country. Like not gender specific. Then the accidental deaths for a year is 160,000 people die of accidental deaths. So if we're saying, hey, we want to stop 100,000 deaths, so we're shutting down the world, right?
Stop cars.
Don't go outside ever.
Right.
Like there is an acceptable amount of risk that we have just living life. And I think that's the point that I've gotten to. And I'm ranting. I don't need to rant on this. However, I'm ranting on this.
No, you're right. You're right. Because you almost stole the life of a young boy driving a car the other day.
Right.
No, he almost stole mine because he pulled out in front of me.
Right.
Come on.
Well, and I feel like
you can bell yourself all you want, Tom. You know what really happened.
All right.
I will say this. Like, yes, we are going to get it. Chris, if we had gone on your idea of saying, let's all stand in the street square, in the town square, and let them rain the coronavirus down on me, I'd say that's good. But counteroffer, we find an active volcano, and we take all of our elderly up there and just one by one set them off the planet.
No.
Okay, wow. Yeah, that's a little more
Jake.
extreme there.
We don't approve of that.
We write down what they have told us as oral tradition. We say this is our history.
All right, Jake. No,
then we say
we do not accept this counteroffer, nor do we accept Chris's original offer.
No,
the offer we accept is open America, open the country.
Right, open America. Because there's also people that are kind of unsung that I think that this whole quarantine has really brought to light on, which is those who live in homes that are unhealthy to begin with and who have suffered tremendous psychological and emotional and even physical abuse in these places. And that's a horrible tragedy that came out of this. Now, what can you do? But I feel like if we keep saying, oh, we got to do this to prevent the virus, all this kind of stuff, it's like, well, what about these people who live in a much more dangerous situation that we just put them in because they can't go anywhere?
Right.
They don't have the school to go to feel safe for a little while. Suicide gone up almost 400%.
And so much of that, the kids that go home to a family that is unhealthy, I think that is probably a worse scenario than somebody getting the coronavirus. I think because there's so much psychological, physical of the coronavirus is not fun, and there is psychological, but living in a home where you're not safe and you can't go anywhere,
where your backyard is an active volcano.
Jake with the volcano. Jen,
we'll use that as a metaphor.
Jen agrees with you. She says, absolutely, Chris. I 100% agree. And then she also says,
do I get a bell for that?
Way to put it in perspective. You know what? I'll give you a bell. There you go. There are consequences for shutting down like this. There's just consequences all over, and I feel like we're not willing to deal with the consequences. The risk that we take just for walking out the door in the morning, as of the data that we have, far exceeds getting the coronavirus. Just walking out the door.
This actually just brings up an interesting thought because, I mean, not to just re-bring up the volcano idea, but seriously, a lot of people view us opening the country as voluntarily throwing our elderly into a volcano,
which is not at all what it is.
No, it's not. But at the same time, it's gotten to the point now where literally this thing that is taking lives, like you said, 74,000 lives in our country, has now become something where it's become a bipartisan tool as to describe which person in which party is more loving, I guess, towards people, and it's ridiculous now because now people are saying that they're saying that Republicans now are this is how pro-life people treat pro-life problems. And it's like, what is that supposed to mean? Like being pro-life, like I'm pro-life, and
as
like being pro-life is now a negative thing. It just because of the fact that we'd rather go to work than sit around and go insane and also not be able to feed our families. And
it's also not like you said, it's not like we're dumping people down a volcano. This is not saying we're going to line up the firing squad and you're all gone. All it is
and
saying is all
you
it
want to
is.
get crazy about pro-life, then let's talk about, okay, yeah, maybe the elderly be more at risk, but does that number, even if a good number of them unfortunately would get it and be whatever, let's just play with that idea, and we're sending them to their doom, would that number even come close to the amount of abortions that are still going on because Planned Parenthood is still alive, still alive and going?
And those are active choices as well, which I think is a big difference. Yes, it's an active choice to take an acceptable risk and go outside.
Right.
In life. Yes, it's an acceptable risk during a pandemic to go anywhere other than the places deemed safe. Yes, it's an acceptable risk. However, the choice is yours to do that, but is your choice to affect, like right now, affect another life? That's a whole other conversation in its own.
Absolutely.
And I don't think you can compare the two. I think they're completely
I'm just saying
separate.
it's a double standard in a
Very
way.
much.
You know,
The hypocrisy that is being exposed in all of this is absolutely insane.
Well, that's another thing too, and that's what I was going to mention. Like you have them saying that the Republicans are all these, like, how is pro-life even what you could say about yourself if you're treating this situation like this? But then on the other side too, it's hypocrisy, just screaming across to the left, right?
It's all the way
all
around.
of us have it's all the way around on both ends. Like that's the thing that I can't stand is like a lot of people like don't necessarily know our exact political beliefs or standpoints.
They
but
probably
like,
do.
they have a guess. no, they have a guess of what way of like things that were like that we uphold. But like, yeah, I mean, like we've mentioned before, like conservative ideas. I don't know. For me, I don't adhere to a bipartisan thing. I can't get behind either of them. And
well, there's
so,
not
like,
always one answer.
Well, no, absolutely not. But like, I mean, I claim myself as an independent, and a lot of people are like, oh, so then you're throwing away your vote. No, what that means is I listen to logic and not a party.
Yeah.
You know,
you should always vote your conscience, whether you think your guys are going to win or not.
Ooh,
right, exactly. And so, like for me, like sitting in this, it's interesting because a lot of people want to ask me, well, who do you support? And that pretty much always falls back to, like, which party do I support? Which leader do I support?
Right.
Trump? Do I
Across
support
the
Pelosi?
board.
You know, like what is right? Like who do I fall in line with? And reality is no. I mean, there are things in this that I wish Trump would have done at the beginning that he didn't do. There are things in this that I wish that we were doing, like now, like opening up the beaches sooner, or like opening up the country sooner, that we're not doing. That would be more of a conservative idea.
Right.
But like that doesn't necessarily separate me from wanting the benefit of other people too, which is what a lot of people are getting into now. Is saying you don't want this to happen. You're not pro-life. You know, like
it's our prerogative to classify and judge people based off those classifications, and our country should be set up upon the idea that, like, hey, like the term "not my president." I don't care who the president is. Not my president.
You can't do that.
Wrong, because yes, Obama was not my president. He's not the person I voted for. However, he is my president, whether I like it or not.
By definition, yeah.
That the very idea that someone has made president means someone's vote was heard, and that vote went through. And was it my vote? No. But do I get heard about it? No. I say, okay, I don't agree with a lot of things, but I have my right to voice my opinion on it. And that's where we need to be, is that we have our opinions, we have our beliefs, we have our ideals, and we need to be able to bring them to the table and talk about them. But at the end of the day, the people elect who they want to have. And at that stage, we need to respect our authorities, whether we like them or not.
Yeah. Whether you like them or not, you have to obey at some point.
Yeah. I mean, like, everybody has had a fear of government, and just like, what are they hiding since the 50s? You know, since Eisenhower, like, ended up telling everybody, these roadways. You what?
Since the beginning of time.
Right.
Like, constantly, the constant struggle of governments and power versus the people, and that's just the life, right?
No, for sure. But like fear of the government, as far as like fear of not being able to control what is happening as an independent voter, started in America in around the 50s when Eisenhower was building roadways. And he was saying that these are used for public transportation. That's all it is. But then it turned out it was used for military transport. And that was the main reason behind our freeway system, is getting tanks from one location to another. So as soon as people started to realize that Eisenhower was willing to lie about this government thing in order to be able to make it more palatable to the actual people in the country, people have been in fear of what is it that they're hiding from us this whole time, you know?
Right.
And if we let that fear, like, move forward and trump what Chris is talking about and saying, like, there are government officials that we as individuals, even if it's not your vote, collectively we've trusted enough to put into power. Like, there at some point you have to be hands off enough to say, I'm going to be okay with that.
Right.
As opposed to wanting to stand up and be like, I'm not okay with what the system ended up choosing. That's just in of itself not trusting the people that you and your fellow Americans put into power.
Right.
But
So, like,
at the same
how are you
time,
moving forward like that?
at the same time, you have a right for your voice to be heard and to do it in a way, which is why the whole idea of democracy is why it works so well in America. Yes, there's both sides, but you have to come together, and at some point you make a decision. And Ken makes a great point here, Ken. He says, facts don't care about your feelings. And I think that's 100% right. But I think my favorite part about this whole conversation is that when we go to Jake and he's making all these very serious points, there is a woman holding a dolphin puppet behind him. So, and it makes it all that much more palatable. I feel like you could say all kinds of crazy stuff, but if you've got a picture like that, people are like, well, he's not mean. He's got a lady with a dolphin behind him. How can he be?
I'm gonna bomb the U.S. subway.
Okay, no. That
There's
was
nobody
not.
down
He
there.
didn't say there's workers down there cleaning it up. But yeah,
They're the ones that need to run.
This whole thing is super crazy. And Hallie said that's Jake in a nutshell, but that's not true because how did you get in this bloody big nutshell?
This is Jake
This is Jake
on Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Whose line is it anyways?
Doesn't it look like the background from Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah, I think so. I think it does. And Ken makes a great point. Who doesn't? And I think he means love. Who doesn't love dolphins? I mean,
Who
come
doesn't
on.
live dolphins, though? Dolphin is a lifestyle.
Jake does live dolphin. That's true. I forgot about that. So, all right. So, but this next story is also dealing with New York, but it's a guy that's a little bit entrepreneurial in a way that, probably isn't the best to be entrepreneurial.
What a jerk.
So, yeah. Okay, so this next story here in New York, a guy is taking advantage of this coronavirus situation, and he got into a little bit of trouble because NYC man stole over $12,000 in stimulus checks from mailboxes, prosecutors say. So this guy...
That's right, make that money!
This guy's like, okay, we're all getting stimulus checks. I'm probably getting one, or I may not be getting one. Either way, that means I know there's money in your mailbox, and I'm going to go start a business where I take your money. Like, what? Come on, really?
He's a lawyer, baby.
He's. You think he's actually an attorney?
Is it really? Oh, man.
What if he was, though?
No, what if he was? That, and then he would stand up for himself in court.
Yeah. He'd represent himself.
So, but here's the funny thing. So, his name is Feng Chen, Fengchen. Feng Chen, 31, was spotted by police early Tuesday morning looking inside mailboxes in the Sunset Park neighborhood of Brooklyn, according to a statement released by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of New York. So dude's just walking down the street, like just checking mailboxes. Like, man, you got one? Nah. You got one? All right, score, bro. Like, what are you? Come on, man. There's so many more technological ways to, like, make this happen. And I don't know, Jake, where are you covering? Where are you trying to, what are you doing? What are you?
Hey.
Oh, you're the guy looking at the mailbox. I get it. So, yeah, this guy, now, mail fraud and stealing checks and all that kind of stuff is not a new thing. But this guy just saw an opportunity. He's like, you know what? I'm going to do this.
This guy is hero of the week. And you know why?
Why?
Because he's going outside, putting himself at risk.
That's right. That's
He's
right.
finding a way to provide for his family and probably only working 3 hours a week.
Well, now here's the thing I wonder about this guy. Is he, because this is a very obvious, like he's walking down the street checking mailboxes, almost like he wants to get caught. I'm wondering is like, you know what? It'd be better if I was in the joint and I got 3 hots and a cot than with my wife and kids. It seems like if you're just asking to get caught right now when there's nobody outside either. Like there's nobody outside.
It's like the dad in Elf when he puts on the Santa suit and he's like, I'm right here, ho ho ho, and like the Central Park Rangers blow right
by him.
Yeah, it's like he's outside and he's like, I'm getting stimulus checks.
Yeah.
He's just grabbing them out of all the mailboxes. He's like, come and get me.
The worst.
But then they never
the worst.
do.
And but they did. They did. They got this guy.
Yeah.
No,
So-
they serve him. But they're like, well, in this whole process of us serving you, you got to stay at home with your wife and kids.
That is
And
the
then he's like-
punishment.
And then he's like, no. And
That
we're gonna
was
have
my whole
visitation
point.
rights. And
Yeah.
he's like, no.
Oh, that's good. Ken makes it.
not like
Ken-
letting out prisoners from the jail, to make space for COVID-19. It's not the
Dude,
same kind of
okay,
thing.
and speaking of the same idea, Ken brings up a story that I've been following a little bit. Open your hair salon, then go to jail. Did you hear about that lady?
Yeah.
In Texas, she
Ridiculous.
opened her hair salon in defiance because she lost all her money, lost all her clients. She's like, I got to open. This stimulus thing isn't working. I need to open. She literally went to jail, and the judge was asking for an apology for doing it. And she's like,
Yeah.
no, I don't apologize. I did this
She's
because I need to feed my family.
Right.
Yeah, she's like, I need to feed my dang kids. And then the judge is like, sentenced. And then now everybody's like, whoa, let her go.
It's
And I'm sorry,
way an
but barbers
overreaction.
and hairstylists, don't they sanitize everything?
Well,
Like,
they do, but at the video, so I wish I had clips of it. I watched the video of what they're doing at the hair salon. They're doing all the stuff with PPE. They're following the guidelines. She's taking temperatures before people come in. So it's not like she just like opened up willy-nilly and started
Right.
licking people's hair. She
Right.
put on a mask. She put on gloves, had people come in, kept it clean. She followed the guidelines that are being put out by the CDC and the government. Yet Texas is like this judge who is supposedly very liberal.
Judge Jerk. He
Judge
sounds
Jerk,
like.
Judge Jerky. But it's crazy because she was following the guidelines that are allowing businesses to open in places like Georgia and Tennessee and California soon. But they were like, you're just didn't follow the rules in a way that. Now, the other thing is this is a mandate that was given by the governor and wasn't like a law passed by Congress. So there's a
Right.
different feel for this whole thing. And this is where people are starting to get antsy, and rubber's going to hit the road here real soon. And I'm not sure what's going to go down, but I think like there's going to be a lot of stuff that happens with people
Right.
just saying, you know what, I can't wait anymore. I'm going to follow the guidelines as are proposed, but I can't wait anymore because I gotta live my life.
yeah.
Scary.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say scary how that does leave room for there to potentially be some type of riot.
Oh yeah, big time.
And
mean-
we're talking like that's the behavior that was going on in China before all this.
Right.
Yeah, when the
right,
whole Hong
yeah.
Kong thing, like all of that stuff. Like there's things that are going to be happening. So this New York man just got the jump on it, and I think he wanted to get caught. But the woman that went to jail as a hairdresser in Texas did not want to go to jail, but she did say, I got to stand up for something in this. And whether she's made an example of on one side or the other, I heard the governor of Texas said, you know what, I will go for her to jail and pay her fine. And they're like, nope, sorry, that's not going to work. So it's super crazy.
Well,
and
Daniel-
Jen makes a point here. It says, yet they're releasing actual criminals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not only that, Daniel actually sent a link to one of these death ice rink things.
Oh, yeah.
And I looked it up too. There's one in Maryland. There's one in Spain. The
They
Milton
sure did.
Keynes ice rink in Madrid. So that's the one in Spain. But like, yeah, there's like multiple death rinks, and it's just
Hope-
ice rinks where they're piling bodies.
That won't cause
hopefully,
any problems.
hopefully it won't be there very long. I was hoping we wouldn't do it at all, but it is being utilized. Somebody, Larry Hogan of Maryland. Wow, they're
Larry
really
Hogan, brother.
Larry Hogan, brother. They are using ice rinks as morgues. That's crazy, man. Like that's nuts. So, which gives you the idea of yes, it is real.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a bless you. Yes, there is a downside to this. However, when you look at the numbers, and you have to say there is an acceptable risk just of living your life.
Right.
That you have to make a decision to say, I'm going to drive my car. I'm going to eat this steak. I'm going to walk to the grocery.
Is
Whatever,
that really a
right?
decision, though? I'm going to eat this steak. I mean,
I mean, we could
that's
have
not decided for me.
we could have a You have. It's not a. I just have to do it. I just have to do it.
Right.
But okay, so these things are all happening, and we're gonna move on to our next story because it's related, but it has to do with to sport or not to sport, and we're gonna talk about that here in the next story.
I love to sport.
I love to sport as well. So ESPN did a study. They asked fans of sporting events, and they said, fans, would you rather forego the seasons or would you rather have sports without spectators? And surprisingly, they said, you know what? We are in favor of sports returning without spectators rather than wait.
Sport.
Duh.
I love a good sport.
Why not?
I love a good sport. Of course, they want sports to continue. The big question, and actually Jake, Dad, and I were talking about this the other day, is when you're the athlete and you're on the field, can you perform at the same level when there is no crowd in person? How would they do that? I don't know, and I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know ultimately if it's not going to be the same, obviously.
Every day it's going to feel like the Pro Bowl. Every day is just going to feel like you are not giving it your all.
Yeah, you're pretty much going to be mailing it in, right? I don't know.
So what I think is going to happen is I think we're going to get like a crazy Super Bowl. So it'll be like the Bills and like
the Raiders,
The Browns.
the Browns, and the Raiders.
Browns.
Wait, they can't. They're
Browns
both
and Bengals.
AFC.
No,
Dang.
if the Raiders go to the Super Bowl, I'm going to be so upset. And here's why. Jason Witten is on the Raiders now, which would be like,
What? That's gross. Really?
yeah.
Oh, I'm
yeah,
gonna give
yeah.
Jason Witten a buzzer. Why would he do that? Sorry, Ben, but I'm not a fan. Him in black and silver.
It's going to look gross.
Ugh.
It's going to look
Ugh.
so gross.
That's not right. There's something wrong
so
with that.
gross.
So gross. That Jason Witten, we do not salute you. You know, I'm giving you another buzzer. But hopefully we get to see that play out because as of right now, so ESPN study, they're originally fans aged 18 or older. They said they had a 65% in favor of sports returning even if fans can't come, and that approval rate jumped to 76 when participants were asked if they would support the return of sports without fans in the stands if players were kept in hotels and their contact with others was closely monitored. So that's a pretty fluid situation. Jen makes a comment, maybe the Chargers would have a chance. No,
Yeah, maybe.
No,
Yeah.
let's be real. They'll never have a chance. Sorry, Chargers.
Didn't they extend Phillip Rivers' contract?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to the Chargers. Who cares? Steelers all the way. Ben Roethlisberger 2027. So I think
Ben
that's
Roethlisberger.
Roethlisberger.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Ben Roethlisberger, President 2024. Oh man. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So you know what? Sports are gonna maybe come back, maybe not. And you know what? We have a lot of stories that we didn't get to, but we're almost at time. Like there was so much to talk about. And I'm going to go to the beach. I feel like I need to go to the beach.
Nick Cage.
We can, you know what? Let's finish with Nick Cage, and we didn't do any who's to blame. So we're going to talk about Nick
We're going
Cage.
to blame Nick Cage.
We're
for
going to
everything.
talk about caging the Tigers. But Daniel says cyborgs or avatars in the seats. For sporting
That'd be
events.
sick.
You know, that'd be
That'd be really
interesting.
sick.
But would the cyborgs be like, I could do this better. I'm going to go out and play, and then they jump on the field,
Nah.
and then it's
Nah, the
cyborgs versus men. Oh, now it's
That's just human
Terminator.
versus robots. That's what
Right.
they already did that. They already did that in How I Met Your Mother. They would
Right.
man versus robot, and they'd go.
I
and be
don't
a big
think that
wrestling
they did it
event.
as well as they would do it if we did it during sporting events. So
But
Daniel,
here's what we do need to do.
Daniel,
What we
you
do
get a
need to
bell.
do Is we need to have those cyborgs sitting in our arenas, and we just need to get them liquored up. So we need to like get all these cyborgs just sitting there, you know, like at a football game, like every loud man with his chest painted, like you've ever seen.
yeah,
Just be like, man, beer is really cool. I'm amazed that we've never tried this before. And then his buddy's sitting next to him, and he's like, yeah, man, totally cool. It's really nice not to be annihilating stuff right now. And then his buddy next to him is like, yeah, man, I don't want to be annihilating stuff. I just want to enjoy this sport. Ha ha ha. Go. And then he like bends over and he's like throwing up. And then he's like, no, buddy. We'll take you home.
You know, cyborgs and robots can't digest food and or throw anything up, right? That doesn't actually
Do we
work.
know? Do we know?
Yes, we do. We know that. It's not possible.
Where's the proof?
All right, here we go. Last story. We are moving on because Nicolas Cage is doing something that realistically none of us should be surprised at this. Nicolas Cage has been tagged to play the Tiger King's Joe Exotic in scripted series from American Vandal showrunner exclusive. Can you believe? Like, first of all, do we need a Tiger King movie?
Yes.
No, we don't.
Yes.
Why do we need it? Yes. Why, Jake? Why do we need it?
Need it.
As much of this Oklahomian content as possible. We need as much of it. Just funnel down the pipe.
I'm sure they've got enough like B-roll and stuff on the cutting room floor from the documentary that they could just make a documentary like extension of it.
Not as fun.
Nick Cage, though.
Yes. Yeah. Just imagine him trying to do the Joe Exotic voice.
Well, how would
Joe Exotic voice is like way up here, sound like this, and he always hugging all really high and everything.
And Nicolas Cage is always down here, and he said, I gotta be thinking about something really intense right now. You know?
I think he would do it. I think he would do it more like his Con Air character. I think
Hummingbird.
Right. I think that's a character he would use to play Joe Exotic.
I got it. Here's my audition tape.
Let's hear it.
Okay. All right.
There's a girl stuck a cage in a tiger. Or what? Let me start again.
Cut and
there's a girl whose tiger is stuck in a cage. Wait, one more time. I can do this. A girl stuck her arm in a tiger cage and it got ripped off. We need to get her to the hospital. End scene.
There you go.
You know what? I think that I will still not watch that show. I think I will still not
maybe
watch
the Tigers was voiced by Sean Connery. I think that might make it more fun.
If the tiger was voiced by Jack Black, I might watch it.
There you go.
It's just Raja. It's just Raja from Aladdin.
Oh, he just growls. Or Shere Khan.
All right, so Nicolas Cage is going to play the Joe Exotic in the Tiger King not even a docuseries. It's going to be a movie, right? What? So here's the question: is Joe Exotic getting royalties from this? Is Joe Exotic what?
He's in prison.
It's still his story, though. Prisoners write books all the time.
Are they going to pay him?
I don't know. I think it seems to me that on some level, Joe Exotic is getting some sort of something for people telling his story, right?
Yeah, he's more of a public image than he ever needed to be in his life.
He ever should be. Amen to that. Jeesh. So, all right. So, but since we didn't do Who's to Blame,
what this world needed.
No, he is not what this world needed. He's like the opposite of what this world needed. It was a good distraction for some people.
He's not the hero we deserved.
Are you talking about Nick Cage? Or are you talking about Joe Exotic?
Joe Exotic. He's not the hero we needed.
No,
he's the one we deserve.
He's not the hero we wanted.
He's way more heroic than this guy.
I think you're right, Jake. He is the hero we deserve, though. I think you get a bell and an applause for that. Daniel says money on his books, man. Money on his books. That's what he's getting.
Money on the books.
All right, so here's the deal. Here's the deal. We didn't do Who's to Blame for the entire show, so we have to run through really quickly.
Who's to blame for the entire show?
One at a time. We're to blame for the show, but to blame for the stories, we have to blame somebody because in this PC culture, somebody's to blame. It's never us, right? So
we're blaming one person for all the stories.
So we're going to blame one person for all the stories, and here are our candidates today. Today we have Nicolas Cage, who probably is to blame for most things. We have Barney, who is, you know what, he looks pretty suspect. And then we've got a new option. We've got Wild Card, where you get to choose someone of your volition. You get to say, you know what? I think it was this person, or I think it was this person. And I might have to choose Jason Witten as my wild card. I haven't decided yet. But okay, is it Cage? Right. Is it Barney? Or is it an unknown wild card that you'd like to throw in the game? Let's start with the Beaches opening. Jake, who do you blame?
I blame Barney.
You blame Barney. He doesn't look like he would do well on the beach, though.
No, he's trying to get all them kids in bathing suits again.
Oh, jeez. Chris, who do you blame for the Beaches?
The Beaches definitely has to be Megxit.
Megxit. Oh, look at you pulling it.
Bring everything back. Good publicity gets them to start making Mr. Bean movies again, and a global takeover.
Is that a lateral move?
Yeah.
Is he allowed to use Megxit?
I mean, it's unknown. You can do your wild card however you want to do it.
Wildcard.
Are you calling? Are you
Resume play.
okay?
Okay.
All right, so I am going to go with the obvious choice, which I don't know why you guys didn't pick. It's Nicolas Cage because he just wants to take his shirt off on Southern California beaches, right? Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, obvious. Duh. It was his fault. All right.
I'm so stupid.
All right.
How could I have
Who is to
forgotten?
blame? Who is to blame for the NYC subway shutdown? Cage, Barney, or Wild Card? Starting with you, Chris.
New York City shutdown?
New York City subway shutdown.
No, you say it.
That's totally Barney.
Totally Barney. Why Barney?
Yeah, because he wants to do his own show on the subway. So he's closing it all
He's-
down so he can have it all to himself and bring back his "I love you."
He stole our
you
idea.
love me, Let's clean up the subway for me. I don't know.
That's
Wow.
a good Barney impression.
I think he stole our idea. He heard us talking about, hey, we should do a show, and he's like, no, I'm going to do it first.
That's right.
All
And he
right.
takes off his mask and it's Paul Rubens.
Yeah. So it's a future who's to blame, a wild card inside of Barney. I like that, Chris. That's a good angle. I'm going to blame the subway shutdown again on Nicolas Cage because I just feel like he just looks super creepy in this picture, and I think he's trying to do a new movie where he's taking over the New York subway system and he's looking for buried treasure in a tiger costume.
He's taking over the subway, and he has to keep it going at a certain speed
Yes.
before everything explodes. Because if he doesn't keep it at a certain speed, then it's going to be all crazy. Things going to blow up, and the whole thing's going to go if it's not going at a certain speed. And they're going to call it slow time.
How am I not in this movie?
Right.
Wait. Nona asked, Todd, are you related to Brody Jenner? No, I'm not. Well, I guess I might be on some level. If I did a family tree thing, maybe down the road. Maybe I'm related to Brody Jenner. Who knows?
I can't believe that you would disappoint our audience like this. They
All right.
asked you a question.
I know they did, and I had a bad.
You always say yes.
Okay, you're right. I'm related to Brody Jenner. We're actually 17th cousins, 55 times removed. So, all right, Jake, who do you
How I'm
blame?
related to the Queen.
Who do you blame for? Who do you blame for the New York City subway shutdown? Jake.
I blame Shocker, that Spider-Man villain.
What?
Shocker. Okay.
Why?
Because he shuts down the subway often.
Oh, so it's the default because that's just what he does. I give you a buzzer. No, that's weak. You mailed it in. You mailed it in just like Jason Witten playing for the Raiders.
Boom.
Offensive content.
Now you're YouTube police. All right, so
Who has the whistle here?
next one. All right, the New York City man who stole the checks. Who actually did it? It wasn't this Fang guy. It was one of these three. Who did it? Starting with me. I think it was Barney because his show got shut down. He's in need of money. The stimulus didn't come out because he doesn't have payroll. So therefore, he's like, I need money. I'm stealing it, and I'm going to be in a purple suit. Nobody can tell it's me. And he got caught. Barney wanted 3 hots in a cot. That's for sure.
Wow.
3 hots in a cup.
All right, Jake. Jake, how about you? Who are you blaming?
This is definitely Nick Cage, and the reason why is because he was dressed as Joe Exotic for the upcoming show, and he put it all on him. So Joe Exotic was the one stealing the
he was
envelopes.
trying to blame. He's trying to get it to be Joe Exotic, so he was dressed up in character as he was preparing for the role. But he's like, you know
It
what?
was a real.
I could steal some stimulus checks, and it would be great. That would be fantastic.
It was a real Jim Carrey, Andy Kaufman, Tony Clifton type of
I
situation.
like that. And you know what? We have a submission from our audience for the NYC shutdown wild card. Daniel actually has a pretty good pull. He says Lorne Michaels because he's in New York and he's shut down those subways. I think, you know what? Daniel, you get a bell and a round of applause. 100% on that one. All right.
Yeah, I forgot about Lauren because I have a dolphin now.
You have a dolphin now. Lauren went
Right.
away. Unless he changed into a dolphin. Maybe he had the ability to morph. All right. And
I have the Lauren pick
to
to
sport and not to sport. Jake, we're back to you. Who do you blame for the rate of people wanting to see sports without spectators?
I blame. Oh, who do I blame?
What do you mean? Who do you blame? You have to decide. You can't ask me.
I phone a friend
Cage, Barney, or Wild Card? Let's go.
for sports.
Yes.
Rob Gronkowski.
Yes, Rob Gronkowski, who is now trying to get on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with his buddy Tom Brady. Are you kidding? Like, we need to do the whole story.
Julian Edelman too.
It's like the Patriots are just moving to Tampa Bay.
They're moving.
When's Belichick going?
Bro, I said it here. That it's gonna be like when LeBron went back to the Cavs.
Yep.
And everybody's like, "Let me play with you."
Everybody, I think this is insane. Come on, guys. I think you're right. I think Gronkowski is to blame for the people saying they want spectators because Gronkowski's like, I want to play with Tom in Florida and then go party at spring break. Whoa!
In Florida's either where you go when you're freshly about to party it up in college or you're going to retire. And it's funny because that's pretty much Gronk and Brady.
Yes.
True.
All right, Chris, who do you blame for the sports?
Barney.
Barney. Okay. Why do we
Yeah.
blame Barney? Give us a breakdown.
Because no one wants to go back to a time when Barney was on air, so they're trying to get sports back on as soon as possible before more Barney shows can corrupt their children.
So, but then why would you say Barney would be for it? Jake is playing his bass guitar. Why would you say Barney would be for it? Wouldn't he be against it? He's wanting to get his show on.
Well, yeah. I didn't say he was for it.
Chris,
I'm just saying he's to blame for sports coming back.
What have you been doing over there? Have you been drinking something while we were off air? Like, what happened? Like, your answer you're non-cohesive.
Are you talking to me?
I don't know. All right, Chris says
fine.
Barney.
Somewhere, baby.
He takes off his helmet and it's Tom Brady.
Oh, it is Tom Brady. Okay. I give you. There we go.
He's doing his job outside of sports. He's trying to get sports back on.
Yes,
So
you brought it back. So Tom Brady was Barney all along. I think, you know what?
Yeah.
We uncovered it. You heard it here, folks. Tom Brady was Barney all along. And then the final story that we are going to blame someone for, obviously we need to blame someone for this horrible Tiger King movie that Nick Cage is playing in. I think we are to me. Is it to me now?
Take it.
All right, I'm going to take it. I'm going to blame Jack Black because he's like, you know what? I haven't been in a film in a while. I like doing the voices. I just want to be the voice of the tiger in the Tiger King movie starring Nicolas Cage. So therefore, I blame Jack Black as the wild card for sure.
There you go.
Right?
Okay.
Come on. Tell me I'm wrong, Jake. Tell me I'm wrong. Who do you blame,
You're wrong.
Jake?
It's Lorne Michaels.
It's Lorne Michaels again. How did Lorne Michaels get it again?
It.
Because what?
Yeah, he's writing it.
Oh, because he's writing
it's Lorne Michaels because he's like, I need something to take away from this distraction that is SNL as of recent years. Because it's not good anymore.
Right. Yeah. You know what? I think that is true. SNL is struggling. It is struggling. I think probably because there's so many more outlets for people to go and be noticed if they're funny.
Well, it's been better.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's also been worse. So
yeah. Yep, I know. It's been worth it. All right, Chris, you get the final word on who is to blame for Nicolas Cage starring as Joe Exotic in the new Tiger King movie. Who do you blame?
I'm gonna blame.
Come on, buddy. Let's go. Just pick one.
Jeff Goldblum.
Okay.
For being a superior actor and person to Nicolas Cage in every way.
I want to take my back.
I felt like Joe Exotic really needed his own movie, and Nicolas Cage. I think he would be great at that. You know,
Wait a minute. I'm Gilbert Gottfried, and I've come to say that we need to give this job to Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, okay. So Gilbert Godfrey now is in the mix. I think, you know what? I think I blame everything on Gilbert Godfrey, I think, for sure. Like, right. Gilbert is to blame for all of this stuff.
Aristocrat.
Man, you know what? We've gotten through all the stories. We finally got to blame some people, and you know what? We are excited because next week we're back in studio together. Can you guys believe it?
Woo!
Can you guys believe it?
I'm gonna bring my bass.
You're bringing your bass to the studio. I don't know if I'm gonna allow that. That's against our social distancing guidelines.
What are you talking about?
I am not gonna allow it. It's gonna be posted on the door that says no bass guitars, no bass or whistles. That's part of our social distancing guidelines. Greg, what's going on? Hey, buddy, how you doing? Good to see you. But you're here and we're done. We're finishing up here. You missed the show, Greg. You can go back and watch it. It'll be here. It'll be alive. But glad you came. All right. This has been the Trending Stories Taking Over show. The stories keep trending. We can't stop them, so we might as well talk about them. I'm Todd Frazier.
I'm Jake Frazier.
And I'm Chris Cody.
And you're Chris Cody. And we will be back next week, same time, different place, because we're all going to be in the studio. It's going to be fantastic. We will see you all later. Have a good night. Peace. No more whistles. You're fired from whistles. That's not allowed.
Todd's going to quarantine your whistle.
Yes, I'm quarantining your whistle. It's part of our social